crazy. I'm like, how do I use a keyboard?
There's that one episode of Family Guy where Peter gets his nails done like that.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
that?
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
All right, can you hear me?
Yes.
Count us in.
3, 2, 1, go!
What up, motherfuckers? Welcome to Necro Electric. I'm your host, Sean D. Skellington. This is my...
It just bugs me that you don't open the wrapper before you open the can.
That was badass, though. That was pretty tight.
Yeah. I feel like that's going to be a running theme for every episode now to be like...
Yeah.
Well, if they get the fucking normal ones in stock, I won't buy these giant ass ones.
Oh, that's what it is. It's somebody else's fault.
Anyways, this is my beautiful bride, Kylie Skellington, and Freddy Cougar over there, Jordan Fernandez.
You mine, bitches.
Today we have a very special guest. We've had Armando Ramirez. We've had Danny Flores. Now we have the trifecta, the writer, Mr. Joey Gonzales.
What's up, y'all?
Hello.
I'm really excited to be here. I've been
Yay.
watching you guys for so long.
Oh, thank you.
Kind of caught
Oh.
up on all the episodes that I didn't miss. Or that I
Awesome.
missed, but yeah.
So you know
Yeah.
what's coming then.
I hope so.
So I think
never
we
know here.
I think we should add a question in to be like, how many episodes of Necro Electric have you watched? For them to be like, oh shit, all of them.
If you guys don't know, Joey is a writer and one of the founders of Plus Waco Comics.
Sir.
Boom.
That's awesome.
And since it's his first time here, we're going to do Who the Hell Are You?
Oh, shit.
And before we do that, hit that fucking subscribe button.
Makes that noise.
We've been getting more lately, so if it's
Yay.
your first time,
Subscribe.
what up? Welcome.
Yay.
All right, so lately we've been doing whatever comes off of my head game to get to know you.
Okay.
All right, so today
Great.
let's do a game. Okay, all right, everybody clear your minds.
Clear your mind.
All right,
All right.
now think of your mom and your dad.
No.
Oh no.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
This game, you're going to guess for yourself, and then you're going to tell us why you think that.
Okay.
And I'm going to call this game Which Position Were You Conceived
No. Oh my god. I'm so glad my parents don't watch this. Although if my dad watched it, he'd be like, no, that's totally
I
wrote
know before I came on here, my mom and dad were like, what's a podcast?
in? Shout out.
Okay, clear my mind. Ugh, I'm getting grossed out already.
How did you get made?
Ugh. Sorry,
For
I
an
threw up a
outside
little.
perspective,
It
what
has
she thinks about this?
Specifically just the position.
Yeah, and why you think that position.
You know, I was planned, so I feel like maybe my parents would have just done the old,
Missionary.
like, just
Hole
good
in the
old
sheet.
good old missionary, just making sure, okay, for sure getting this baby. So
Like no fun at all. Just like, okay, well,
I mean, they might have had fun. I don't want to imagine.
Jordan.
I don't want to imagine it that my parents were having fun, but I mean,
Wouldn't
my
you want
parents
them
can
to
have
enjoy it,
fun.
though?
Well, yes, I would want them to enjoy it, but I don't want to think about it. I would much prefer the idea of it being like very like solemn and boring and like
Yeah.
because
But you know what they say? Because your mom's like all like super by the rules and quiet and kind of,
yeah, I mean
straightforward,
somewhat, yeah.
which probably means she's wild. Just saying, she's probably
no.
wild.
Although I do have a funny story about that. There was one time before my parents had kids that my dad explained it to me. We had just gotten done, doing the thing. And I was like, Dad! And so he said,
Yes.
Your mom, for whatever reason, she asked me to go out and get her some cigarettes because she wanted to know what smoking cigarettes was like. And I was like, for real? My mother, like she wanted cigarettes. He was like, yeah, she just wanted to know. So I went out and got her a Diet Coke and some Marlboros, and I brought it back. I was like, you got her Marlboros? That's the cigarettes you got my mother? He was like, yeah, that's what she asked for. And so she was like, I took one puff and then I was immediately almost sick to my stomach. So she was
Yeah.
like, I never wanted to do that again. I was like, what made you want to do it in the first place? She's like, I don't know. Just watching the movies there, people have sex and then they
And they
smoke
smoke
cigarettes. And I was like, like, okay, but you're not a cigarette smoker, mother. So that's pretty much the only time that I like to, that's the funny story, and the only funny story I like to hear about my parents' sex life. So
Makes sense.
My mom, I was conceived when my mom was like 15. So I'm assuming it was in the back of some kind of vehicle.
yeah, but what position would you do in the back of a vehicle?
That is a hard one.
Cool.
Because doggy style is pretty easy, but also like
In the back.
you're in the back,
I'm
so
assuming
headroom.
Some kind of cowboy
Cowboy
situation.
Got
Yeah.
it. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm going cowboy.
that's a good old go to, I guess. Whenever you're in the back of a car.
No,
Yeah.
your parents are a little wild for sure.
Growing up, my parents partied a lot.
Oh my!
We always had parties
They
at
still
the
party.
house. I mean, they do, but they're divorced now,
divorced,
so
Yeah.
they party separately. But I don't know. It was probably like, I don't know why I'm gonna say this, but it was probably like outside somewhere, like randomly, like spontaneously.
And they had 2 daughters, and she's more of the wild daughter.
Okay.
Oh.
Why does that make a difference?
Well, maybe like
I'm
being
just putting the
outside,
facts out there.
just being outside. Maybe that was like gave it the wild
Right.
child
Yeah,
vibes.
maybe.
Maybe.
Maybe it was under a full moon when
Hey.
Jupiter crosses fucking Uranus or whatever.
Hey, you never know. I
Yeah.
mean, there's ways to find that out. There's ways to just look at your birth chart. It'll tell you when you're what phase of the moon it was in.
Yes, I'm gonna look at that now.
If it's a full moon, I'm gonna scream because that would be hilarious if he was right. If he was
Now I'm
right,
gonna
I
have
will
to
laugh.
look. How about you?
All right, so my dad's a little bit older, and I was not playing because my mom supposedly had her tubes tied.
Oh
Yeah.
shit!
Oh.
Yeah, and so whenever
Supposedly.
they found out that they were pregnant, they were like, "Oh,
You commandoed that.
okay, yeah, right." So I'm supposed to be here, man. So like, but my dad was like, my dad's a real romantic type, so I'm pretty sure he probably has something planned.
Okay.
So he probably had like flowers in the bed or some shit like that.
Eat some wine and chocolates.
Oh, man, I don't know.
Aw, it's so
I
cute.
feel like my. I hope you're not watching. I feel like he's like just missionary, just straight looking, like right in the eyes,
Right now.
like super intense.
Whispering poetry and shit.
Probably all in Spanish though.
Mi amor.
Yes.
Yeah, no.
That's great.
I think that would take me out of it. I'd be like, shh,
Really?
be quiet. Like talking's okay, but like if you're like trying to have a full conversation or like reciting poetry, I'd be like, no, stop. I don't want this.
All right, Oscar, you heard it first.
No poetry in bed, okay?
All right, question 2. What kind of porn do you watch?
We're just perverted, apparently.
First, we're going to talk about your parents having sex, and then we're going to talk about what you like to watch
Okay, no,
other people doing.
parodies, like
Parodies?
superhero parodies.
Yeah.
Because like I feel like at some point, like when I'm like reading comics, like there's like the multiversal events happening. I feel like that like the porn star versions are in there fighting too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they're still getting at it.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't think
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah.
Multi-dimension.
Like the Spider Verse, there might be something.
Yeah.
I'm right there with you.
Porno
We watch the
Spider-Man.
Frankenstein porn. She watches Star Wars porn.
Yeah.
I'm here to
You know,
save you, Mary
Different genres.
Jane.
But
Yeah.
we're on the same page. And then third one, if you could change anything with your life so far, or even in pop culture, what would you change?
I'd just be able to fly.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
Like-
without a doubt.
We've never had that answer.
All right.
Invent the ability to
Like,
fly,
up,
or
up,
just
up and away, like walk outside,
oh,
Yeah.
okay,
just go.
okay.
Just invent the chemical that you get injected with that magically makes you fly.
Yeah, if that,
Yeah.
you know, or even just like, hey, you know, you can fly, dude. And
You're
I
just
could
born with that ability.
Yeah,
Yes.
I would absolutely be able to fly because
That
I
would
would
be
be so
awesome.
many situations. I wouldn't have to worry about driving. I wouldn't have to worry about gas right now.
But you would have to worry about power lines, rednecks.
Birds.
Yeah, I feel like
Rednecks.
also, I feel like the weather would
Especially
come
in
into play.
Texas.
I
They
feel like,
Yeah.
shoot drones down all day.
Yeah, I feel like in
they
comic
saw
books-
a Gonzales flying by.
oh man, oh no, dude, like Elmer Fudd, man. I feel like more superheroes would get struck by lightning though. So I feel like I'd probably get hit. I'm like kind of
Yeah.
unlucky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now that I think, I probably wouldn't be able to.
You'd also have to be really careful about what you wore while you were flying, because I always think of like the Incredibles. Like if they're wearing like a cape, then they get sucked through the
Yeah.
wind turbines, or something gets caught on their cape.
I probably wouldn't be near a plane. I do really.
Well, as a guy who used to ride a rice rocket, like you get bugs in your face.
Oh, yeah.
You'd have to wear a
Gross.
helmet or some kind of like thing to cover you.
Yeah.
But I guess if we're living in the realm of now he's able to fly, I guess you could, fly at heights that you don't have to worry about bugs.
So basically,
now it's like
just
super inconvenient. Like I had to get all this stuff on,
Yeah.
fly somewhere. I had to have like a backpack to carry all that stuff.
Your hair is gonna get fucked up.
basically
true,
just just be Iron Man.
Yeah, you'd have to have a hole
Yeah.
encasing.
Your hair would still get fucked up.
I don't know. Tony
hair would
Stark's
get
hair
caught in
always
it.
looks really good.
I don't know,
That'd be my
flying doesn't
worry.
sound good anymore.
I think we talked him out of it, guys. That's a first.
I know, right?
Sweet, man. Well, if you guys don't know, like I said, he's a writer. What got you into writing stories?
It's a bit of a long story, but long story short, I left the job and I went to the comic book store of all places, just kind of just relieve stress. And I've been a reader of comics for a long time, and when I went to the bookstore, I picked up a book and the premise was just silly. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was just off the walls, and I was just like, why can't I do this? Like I've imagined all this stuff before.
Yeah.
I've been in the backyard like playing with sticks and lightsabers and stuff like that. I've had all these little different storylines in my head. Why can't I put this on paper and pursue it? So I just was like, fuck it, like why not me? Like, so I just decided to start doing it. So I got an application and I started working there, and I just started researching and reading a lot of comics more and more, and I just got into it. Decided I could do it.
Nice.
That's
That's
awesome.
cool.
Yeah, I like your style too, because I have a couple friends that are like balls deep in comics and writing stuff and
Balls
writing like fan fiction and stuff. But a lot of them, they only they think about one cool premise, and then they don't think about like an arc. They don't think about like everything. And I love that you guys with plus Waco Comics like think about the whole like universe.
Yeah, that was honestly a big part of Danny, because the Plus universe originated as a submission that we sent to another publisher, and they rejected it. So it was me and Danny, and we kind of turned it down. Whenever they turned it down, and whenever we saw what was published in the book, we were like, oh, why didn't we get in? Like, not to talk down on them, but we thought we had just as good as a product. So Danny,
Because all contests are rigged.
yeah,
It's all about who you know.
we might be able to debate that. But there was Danny was the one that was like, look, dude, what we have here is really strong, but I think we could do more with it. And so that's whenever, because it was initially just Bronze Man, and then Bronze Man became Plus Universe Alpha, and then Danny kept on making it longer and longer and longer. Every time I sent in a script, he kept on making it like twice as long. So I think now it's like 80 pages or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. But we're just, and we have more planned. Like, I was like, all right, cool. After Plus Universe Alpha, I have these 4 different series I have planned. Danny's like, let's do 6. Like, all right, cool.
All right.
Yeah.
Shout out to Danny.
Yeah, for sure.
Pushing it.
No, like, honestly, I don't feel like I'm that, like, it's about to be bad. I don't feel like I'm that great of a writer per se, but I take direction really well. Because I can give them really cool ideas, really crazy ideas, and Danny and Armando, they have a lot of reading experience. They just have a lot of fandom within them, a lot of passion for the books and the stories and characters.
See, I would disagree with you because Danny and Armando, I would say, are comic elitists. If
I can see that.
and
Yeah.
they would never trust.
Did you like
their stories
read
in
my
the hands
mind?
of somebody that they didn't
Dude, okay.
they didn't believe in.
So, thinking
Just to
back
be
on
real,
it, thinking back on it, I have no idea how I convinced them to do this. I really don't, because then they tell me all these stories, like, yeah, like people have come to me before, and like this idea sucked, this idea was bad. And I was like, what do you think of mine?
Yeah.
Because I know my first ones weren't the best,
Armando told me personally that he thought your stories were amazing,
Yeah, well, see,
and
that's
they inspired him to want to create pages.
Yeah, man,
You
that's
know?
really cool. I know Danny right now is on Armando about our pages for Lawbringer. It keeps on like anytime Armando's like sharing like any of our art, Danny's like always shitting on him on the pages. Like, hey, man, where the pages at for Lawbringer? You know what look great? Lawbringer.
It's so funny that you said that because he was talking about how they're so in the fandom and like elitist like came to my mind, and people associate that as like a negative term, but I think it's more along the lines of like you just know what you're talking about, and you have ideas that have, you know, that you have worked and that you have worked through over and over and over again. And so in your mind, you're like, well, I know this stuff. So,
Yeah,
and there's nothing wrong with being, I guess it's becomes negative when you like throw it in people's faces of
Yeah,
like,
it's just
I know
passionate.
more than you.
Yeah, people are just real
Yeah,
passionate.
I didn't mean it in a negative way at all.
No,
like,
no,
Yeah.
like even Oscar, I would say like if like when it comes to Star Wars, there's casual fans, and then there's guys like Oscar, and he'll name you the model of the plane that landed
awesome.
on Tatooine that they were flying. And to me, that's a Star Wars elitist. That's
That
somebody
sounds
who,
cool to
Yeah.
me.
who
That's
knows
awesome.
who knows all the grainy
Front and back.
details. You know. So,
Yeah, until he throws it in your face and he's like, this person was in Star Wars. And I'm like, no, they weren't. That wasn't. And he's like, you doubt my abilities? And I'm like, I'm sorry. I said anything. Jesus.
I think that's just chicks in general. Like a lot of the times we'll watch movies and I'll be like, oh, that person was like, you know, in this movie or that movie, and she'll be like, no.
See, me and Oscar are opposite
Yeah.
because I'm the one that's like, that person was in the movie and he's like, oh, I don't know actors, babe. And I'm like, but he was. Look it up. And he's like, okay, fine. Oh, you were right. I know I was
Yeah,
right.
I mean, I'll be the first to admit I am not good at that at all, especially actors' names, or if they change their hair color, forget it. It's like they're a whole person. I mean,
That's
Gary
why nobody
Oldman.
recognizes me.
Tricks her every time.
I don't even know who you're talking about.
Okay. I'll show you.
Okay.
So, what was the first story that you wrote for Plus Waco Com or for the series?
It was so Plus Universe Alpha. So it was one continuous story from start to finish, and it details the beginnings and origins of the Plus Universe. And the way we describe it is we're making future classics, meaning so it's kind of inspired by a lot of different stories like Batman, Superman, a lot of the Marvel stories, but in our own interpretation of it. So we get to ground these stories a little bit closer to what we experience, but we also get to have fun with it and play with like the cosmic aspects and the mystical aspects of it. So Plus Universe Alpha was that first story, and it just tells like the story of, without telling too much, a civil war of the gods that kind of disagree on how they're going to deal with the humans disagreeing with them. So these gods so our universe is called the Garden, and the gods find out that here on Earth we worship them, which on other planets that's not really a thing. And so with that worship comes power. So like their souls, like their dedication to the gods, that their essence, it makes them stronger. Like the belief in something makes it stronger. And so they kind of fall in love with that power and kind of get love drunk, and that's where all the mythologies of the Greeks becoming like, you know, they have like all these massive orgies and dedication to the gods, and the Aztecs have like I don't want to say sexual sacrifices, but you know, they had like, you know, sex and rituals and sacrifices and
Wait a
power.
second.
What's up?
So does Armando have to draw an orgy?
No, Danny threw it in there. That was not in the script.
Shout out to Danny.
You know
Spoilers
what
alert.
this is missing? An orgy.
For real?
Yeah,
Like I was
yeah.
like, I screenshot like, Danny, what is that? And he was like, you know what it is.
You know what it is.
I was like, did you really put this in there? And it was crazy, man. But the way Danny explains it, and if you look at the mythologies of it, like some of the sculptures, some of the artwork, you know, that's there.
Oh, yeah.
So we're really trying to, like, because comics in a way really modernize mythology. You know, now like Superman and Shazam and all of them, and even the X-Men and all of them, they're seen as like these, you know, super beings, you know. And in the past, you know, that's how, you know, Zeus and all them were. I mean, they were worshipped in a different way. But what's really cool about it is we get to kind of make our own deities, our own gods, our own stories, and go from there. And it's really exciting because
That's
we don't even
awesome.
know what's going to happen next after, you know, it's all said and done.
Can
So,
you tell us your favorite character without spoilers?
Yeah, well, it kind of changes. I hate to say that they're all my favorite because they all kind of like different aspects about them. But there's one in particular that I kind of get really gravitated towards, and his name is Black Toro, and he's like he's a luchador. He's an old man that's just tough as shit that just gets out there and just scraps, and he's been out there for a while. So the Plus Universe is kind of a generational tale, Plus Universe Alpha, and it kind of ends with the passing of the torch to the next generation of heroes. But Black Toro goes along with that second generation. So I have a mentor in my life who's a bit older, and he says the funniest shit. It's a little bit out of this timeline, and it's just amazing because you can learn a lot of things. But what's cool about Black Toro is that I decided to make him a Mexican character, and my culture is I'm Mexican. And my mom is from Wisconsin. She's white, but I have a lot of conflict in my life because in my background, it's my families haven't really kind of seen eye to eye, and so I've always kind of like been in the middle of like, am I this, am I that? But with Black Toro, I got to explore the culture. I got to explore the history of it.
That's cool.
And with my fiance, she took me down to a trip to Mexico actually to meet her family.
Oh, nice.
And I was in Mexico.
Yeah.
Like I've been to Mexico before, but it was for like a little sports trip, and it was like in the city. And so we stayed in a hotel and everything. But whenever I went down last year with my fiance, man, dude, we showered with buckets. I raced for a chicken. Dude, for real.
Whoa.
That's
awesome.
It was wild. But it was such a culture shock, and it was so amazing. And I got to put a lot of that into the character of Black Toro. And that's what I like to write. That's because it gets really cathartic. Whenever you get to that point, and I get to learn, I get to write, and I get to explore, and it gets exciting. And like I said earlier, like it gets to the point where like I can't wait to find out what happens next with this character.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Personally, I'd be like, I need to create a tropical character, and I have to take a tropical vacation.
Yeah.
So I can write about this.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Yeah, I'm super excited about it, man. Like, I love. Are you familiar with Ultraverse?
Yeah.
Yeah, like I love it. A lot of people shit on it, and hate, like, my friends would make fun of me for liking it. But I always thought Ultraverse was so fucking cool, man, because it's just Malibu like took like essentially everybody from Marvel, DC, and they made their own versions of them.
Yep.
But it was written so well, and they crossed each comic crossed over. Like my favorite thing when I was a kid was like Prime, who's like Superman in that series. He uppercuts this dude, and the dude just goes flying in the air.
Right,
and then
pops
if you
in the next issue,
prototype,
yeah.
and then a prototype who's like Iron Man essentially.
Mm-hmm.
In like 2 books down the road, you open it up, and then the guy lands in the movie studio. And like you would never get it unless you read all of them.
Yeah.
But you're
Yeah.
just like, holy shit, you know?
Yeah.
No, I love that kind of stuff, and I love that. You guys are building this whole little world, because Marvel bought Ultraverse like the second it started getting popular, and they just fucking shit canned it, crushed it.
And that was like, our initial idea was that like, okay, we're gonna do this because we just want to make books. Like we've all three of us have been submitting, and we kind of got mixed things. Like I've got denied, Danny got denied, Danny got close, but he got denied. And so we just decided we're just gonna make books. We want to make our own stories, so this is what we're gonna do.
Yeah, you guys got all the talent, right?
Yeah, but
Cool.
it wasn't until I think whenever everything started coming together, we were like, oh shit, we have something here.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not being, I don't want to be cocky, and I don't want to speak for Dan and Armando when I say this, but when we make it, it's going to be because we had that talent. And we all kind of work really well together as far as like keeping everybody's like the momentum going.
Mm-hmm.
Even when the times like where we're down for like a month or two, whether it be for like some health reasons or
fucking plague.
Or that or damn snowstorm.
Oh God.
We're still on our group chat. We're still texting. We're still talking. We're still zooming back and forth, and we're just keeping it going. We bounce off so well when it comes to like making characters. It's so cool, man. I don't want to say too much as far as like what all goes down, because I don't want Marvel or DC watch this and like stealing that shit, because I could pay it from us one day. But it's really tight because it feels like we're just dudes, like I don't want to say they're just shooting shit, like talking superheroes, but it's gonna become something one day, and I know it because it feels so right.
Yeah.
You ever do something where like I don't want to say destiny, but like you ever do something like I feel like I'm supposed to be doing this?
Mm-hmm.
I get that feeling so much when it comes with Danny and Armando, like doing all this. And it's crazy. It's wild.
Yeah.
And
that's great. I'm so happy for you guys, and we truly believe you guys are gonna make it.
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely. It's what's crazy about it is that whenever we did it, and we were after going through this whole process, and like I'm buying books now at Bankston's and reading them, like our stuff could stand next to this.
Yeah.
And so that was our goal. Like that's our goal now. Our goal now is like to kind of rival the big two one day, because initially it was supposed to be like this is gonna be like our resume. like to show publishers, hey, we can get a book done on our own.
Yeah.
Now it's like, we're going to try to do it better than you.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, DIY is the way to do it. I feel like, people doing it with comic books, with podcasts, with, TV shows, with
even.
movies, anything that you have the ability and the resources to put together yourself, like that stuff gets recognized like that.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's the way to go now. It's just doing it yourself. And
we put it together. We put it out on Kickstarter. And in 5 days, we funded for.
That's amazing.
Yeah, we had
That's fantastic.
Our goal is set like 4,000, and we hit that in 5 days. And it was we have people all around the world. It's crazy.
That's
I would
awesome.
have never imagined that. Like getting that first that submission in and getting it rejected, and like I would have never imagined that 2 years later, this is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Well, people I think miss passion opposed to agenda nowadays.
Yeah.
Where a lot of like the big two, it's more of an agenda than it is like let's tell good stories. You know what I mean? It's like we have a checklist of current events that we need to address. You know
and
what I mean?
sometimes I feel like they're like backpedaling and all that, and like you're right. The thing that gets missed is a good story, and so with the Plus universe, we're really trying to make our characters just like you and me, like Bronze Man, our superhero or Superman archetype character. He's got to work 2 jobs, because like nowadays that's really what you kind of have to do if you're in your workplace, working as a restaurant or construction, whatever it is. He's got 2 jobs. He's got real responsibility. So sometimes he's gonna have to decide. Can I get out of work while this guy is like chasing this, like robbing this bank or something like that? Or like this giant man is destroying the city. Can I really tell my boss, like, hey, I got to go?
Yeah.
While protecting your identity at the same time.
Yeah.
And there's things like that are going to happen. And you don't really see that too much in comics.
Yeah, there's
like
no
nowadays.
consequences.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Everyday actions.
Clark Kent, like, even the year 1 comics that kind of ground and modernize it, where Clark just like shows up to the Daily Planet. Yeah, it's like, hey, I don't have a degree, but can I be a reporter? Pretty much. And you're like, yeah, here's a job, sir.
Yeah.
Because that's going to happen in real life.
Yeah.
Right? But and stuff like, don't get me wrong. It's a fantasy, of course, but with the Plus universe, we really want to try to get that closer to what's happening to us right now.
Yeah, just having, and I feel like more and more, even with Marvel and DC, they're coming out with these characters that are more relatable, like people that you can actually go, oh, okay, I can definitely see myself as that person, or I can imagine, it being a real thing. And I'm like, the more that's happening, the more I'm like, okay, yes, like, because I don't, I get shit for this, but I don't really care for characters like Superman. I find Superman to be very boring because nothing, like he's handsome, he's strong, he's got all the powers, he has very few weaknesses.
Yeah,
like
it's really hard to be relatable.
Yes, and you're just like I'd much rather, like, I'm more of a, I don't know if Batman's any better, but I feel like there's some actual like grit there, like something that I can actually like latch onto and be like, oh, that's so sad, versus like, yeah, here's this vanilla white man that I like have nothing in common with, but okay, cool.
I think it comes down to the core of the character, because for Batman, the core of his character is loss, like the loss of his parents, and he kind of turns that into a darker way, to where the core of Superman is like he's a god amongst men, and it's a real alien amongst men, and so
Even the last video game, there's no health bar. The health bar is for the city.
Yeah.
And you have to go. You played that one?
no, I haven't.
The last one that I bought,
Dude.
the city has a health bar, and you have to go and stop all these things from happening, but you yourself have no
That makes
no
sense.
loss.
That's realistic.
Yeah.
We got time for an ad real quick?
Yeah. This episode is brought to you by somebody. Skellington Curiosities. Skellington Curiosities is the only curiosities and oddity shop in Waco, Texas. Full of clothing, lingerie, accessories, oddities, and everyday curiosities. A spooky vibe 365. Visit us online at skellingtoncuriosities.com. .com.
Or not to shop.
To shop. Always to shop. That's the answer. That's always the answer. So do you write anything outside of the comic, or is that just mostly your main focus right now?
So it started off as screenplays, like for movies or TV shows, but that was just like for fun, But that was about like maybe 6 or 7 years ago. This is way before comics. I just had a passion for writing. I just enjoyed that.
Screenplays are fun to write.
They are. And I was going through like a massive depression, like from like 2013 to about yesterday.
He's all a minute
Oh
ago.
my!
3 o'clock.
But writing it out was a good way to escape what was happening, but also make it to where it was like a little bit of release. So now, and kind of, because writing comics, there's a bit of a lag time because you have to wait for, I don't say you have to wait, you get to wait for your artist to get your work back. And so in that meantime, I started writing a little bit of short stories. I started reading a lot, actually, to kind of get ready for it. Because I didn't read too many novels growing up, but I read a lot of comics. So I started picking up, like, H.P. Lovecraft short story collection.
Boom.
And I kind of dove into that. So I kind of want to do short stories one day. I really want to release a volume, but right now, like, the main focus has just been Plus Universe.
That's
Yeah.
a perfect example to learn from, because I would consider H.P. Lovecraft one of the first like universe builders.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because all his stories, even though they're not connected directly, there's element like the Necronomicon is in several
Yeah, that
stories.
we mentioned. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, Stephen King always, I mean, one of his rules for writing is to read. And I'm really horrible about that. I feel like my ability to, what's the word I'm looking for? Obviously I can't think. My comprehension level has gone down since probably about 25.
Okay.
I blame my children, but I don't know if that's fair. Because when I was younger, I used to read books like, I mean, I would eat them up like food. I would go through them in like a day, and it would just be, oh, I can't put this down. And now that I don't know, I guess, like I said, when I turned 25, it was like, oh, I can barely get through this book, even though it's really good. Like, I'm so tired, and I can't.
Yeah.
Well, it's also the time that we live in now. I mean, like,
Yeah.
like when I was a kid, I used to read Choose Your Own Adventure books and
Oh,
comic
I
books
loved
and
those.
stuff.
Goosebumps.
Yeah.
But nowadays,
cool.
it's like, do you want to read a 600-page novel, or do you want to watch the film, or you know what I mean, or do you want to listen to it on Audible, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's convenience, like. distracts.
Although I would say listening to audiobooks is just as good as reading, because sometimes that's the only way you can absorb it. Like I've gotten like this just past year alone, I've gotten through so many books by listening to them.
that's
Well,
cool.
I haven't checked it
So-
out. I haven't tried it.
Yeah,
That's
it's
pretty cool.
I don't
I've seen friends,
know.
Like, listen to it and they work out and they like speed it up and all that.
Oh,
I feel
no,
like
that's
it's, like,
weird.
ADHD inducing. So I don't know about all that.
For me, the only way I could do it is if I'm like I used to in California commute to work back and forth, so I'd listen to podcasts, and then when podcasts would, I'd have listened to all of the ones that I wanted to listen to. Then I'd start going to Audible books.
Yeah.
I listen to like Motley Crue documentaries and stuff. It was like when I'm and then you probably do that when you drive to go get your kids or whatever.
Oh yeah, I've gotten through lots of books that way.
But I always find traveling, you listen to a shit ton of them.
Yeah. I used to be really big about writing too, but I'm a perfectionist, and so I get really caught up in my head about, oh, this sucks, and I don't listen to any of the advice that I've ever read about writing. I'm just like, this sucks, and then I just put it down and I never pick it back up. But I think I enjoy writing screenplays more than I writing like short stories and things like that. It's easier to flow, in my opinion, just to be able to like get your idea out, and then you can go back and change it if you want to. Whereas with a book, it's like, okay, I have to describe this thing, and I have to make sure that it makes sense. And like
Yeah,
with a
that's where I
script,
come
it's a
in.
little more loosey goosey.
Yeah, Danny has this saying. It's like write drunk, edit sober.
Yeah.
And I struggle with that because
Oh, yeah.
every time I write, I feel like it's the Emperor News Groove, like where like the little angel and the devil pop
Oh,
up.
yeah.
And like as I'm writing, like one guy's like, "Man, that's tight." Other guy's like, "Yo, man, that sucks."
Yeah.
Okay, I got like 3 words now. Can I finish a little bit more before I get in on that? And I have a hard time shutting off that like automatic editor like in the middle
Yeah.
of it. And so honestly, it takes me a little bit longer to write than I'd like to.
Well, and especially because other people are instantly reading your work. Like, it's not
Yeah.
like you're just holding on to it. Like, you immediately have to send it over, and they have to be like, this sucks, or, oh, this is good, or,
Yeah.
maybe, whatever. And that to me is the ultimate, like, oh my God, they're going to think it sucks. I don't even want to write anything now.
And I put a lot of pressure on myself because, like, in my point of view, I have like every sentence that I write, there's the weight of Danny and Armando on it, and not just Danny and Armando, but Christina and Kate. You know,
The weight.
They're putting their trust in me
Yeah.
to make the story that they're going to translate to people to see and to read. You know, and I'm like, oh man, this has to be good. This has to.
But,
be
you
good.
know, you're not pizza. Not everybody's going to like it anyway.
No, well, but you're right.
Who doesn't
but
like pizza?
I have to like it.
I'm sure there's somebody out there that doesn't like pizza. So how do you deal with criticism from Danny and Armando? Is it something that you like, are you able to just be like, all right, I'll change it? Or are you just like lost and you're like, oh my God, that was awful?
No, there's been some time, well, because they're really good about it. Sorry, they're really good about it. Danny's very blunt, but he doesn't sugarcoat things, and it's a matter of respect. And it's like, hey, I know you're trying. This is good. This is how it can be better. And so he takes that approach to it. Now, if they were like a little disrespectful, yeah, I probably wouldn't like it. But it's a matter of we all want this to be good. So I trust them. So any kind of criticism they give me, I usually just take it and like, all right, let's change it. For instance, I'm horrible at naming things. Like characters, I suck at it. Like
Me too.
Lady Avelion, right? Like the 99th reincarnation of King Arthur. Her name was supposed to be Sword Woman. Right?
Could be improved upon.
Yeah, like, nah, this isn't happening. So I was like, all right, cool. You know, like Lady Valion's a little bit cooler.
Yeah.
Cry a little bit.
Like my kids are better at naming things than I am because, my hair used to be a darker blue and it had some purple in there. And my kids were like, you know what your name would be if you were a superhero? And I'm like, what? Tell me. Just expecting something silly. And they're like, Galactica. And I was like,
whoa.
Oh my God, that's amazing. And if I was a better writer, I could come up with something. But like Galactica, oh my God, like Galactica.
It's one of my favorite movies.
Galactica.
It's right behind you.
Huh? What?
Galaxina.
Oh, Galaxina.
Oh,
Yeah, but I'm horrible at naming things too. I just have
Yeah.
like no imagination for that
Cool, I'm
stuff.
glad I'm not the only one.
Yeah, no, I'm really bad at it.
Are you from Waco?
I am born and raised.
Nice. How was it coming up here?
It was pretty cool. I grew up in the skating rinks a lot.
There you go.
So I probably about 8 years old, I started going to the skating rinks, and then when I was about 12 or 13, I got into competitive speed skating. It turns out that the owners of the rinks here in town are like world-class coaches and athletes. Like Gypsy Lucas, my coach, she's been in the X Games. She's an X Games world champion.
that's
Wow.
She's like a 2 or 3 time world champion.
Shout
for
out.
inline, right?
Wow.
And she's coached a handful of Olympians herself.
Wow.
So it's
That's
pretty
amazing.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they took me all around the world on a pair of skates. You know, I've raced in France, I've skated in Mexico and
Whoa,
Germany and
cool.
Belgium. Yeah.
Remind me not to go roller skating with you. I'm really bad.
Jordan ate shit at the rink.
Oh man.
I did. It was really bad, and I was in a lot of. It was like right on my tailbone too. So every time that I moved, I was just like, "Oh, I'm too
don't worry.
old for
I can
this."
teach you in like 20 minutes. It's fine. Oh my God. I got you. But I read a lot of comics, and I was just watching a lot of TV. I was a real nerdy kid. Skating kept me out of, I don't want to say trouble, but I didn't really.
Kept you focused.
Kept you
Yeah.
disciplined.
Yeah, absolutely. Kept me disciplined. Like I didn't go to a lot of parties, so I really wasn't invited.
Aww.
Yeah, it's okay. I forgive him.
Because they're all characters that die in his books.
Yeah.
Good idea. Oh man, I don't know if I can get in trouble for that. I hope not. I'm gonna write that down. Finally, I can get my revenge. But yeah, I just I did like little Waco things. You know, growing up here, we said like you either go to the skating rink, you hang out with your friends, or you go to the movies on the weekends. That's
Yeah.
pretty much it. So people say Waco is boring, but like if you know the right people, it can be pretty
Yeah.
fun. So I was just a little rascal, man, a little skating rascal.
Oh yeah. Well, we got time for one more ad.
Sure. This episode is also brought to you by Dark and Jury Clothing. Dark and Jury is an edgy fashion and lifestyle brand that embraces great design and unsurpassed quality. Dark and Jury has quickly gained a following amongst fans of the occult, horror, punk rock, heavy metal, and all-around free thinkers and retailers worldwide without shoving a preachy, trendy, or political message down your throat. So buy the best, fuck the rest, darkandjuryclothing.com. Come.
We're getting towards the midnight hour here.
Already?
I know time flies when you're having fun.
I know.
You got some shout outs?
Yes. Shout out to Doreen for my nails. These are custom made, guys. Like she works on these it's legit. And she gives you a kit to be able to put them on. So There you go. And then shout out to everybody that stopped by and got a reading from me this weekend at the booth. That was such an amazing experience, and I'm pretty sure about 90% of everybody that came to see me had never had a tarot reading before. So I was like, hey, it's my first time too. So, but yeah, it was a really great time. It was hot as fuck. I got home and I had to like peel the clothes off of me. I'd been sweating all day. And so, but it was super fun, and I'm super excited to start doing them in the store. So I'll be here on Saturdays from 3 to 6. Not this Saturday though, because my sister's birthday. But after that, I'll be in the store from 3 to 6 on Saturdays.
Nice. Shout out to your son for fucking being a dick.
What?
I was like, hey, what's up, man? What's up, Soren? Give me a fist bump. And he went, and then and just turned around and walked away. I was like, wow, bro.
That's my
He
boy.
throw some looks. Like, he was scared of the bees.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's okay. It's just a harmless little bumblebee. He goes, bumblebee? And, like, looks me up and down. I was like, yeah, bumblebee.
He's a turd. What a turd.
Camera's repair. Hold on 1 second.
It lasted right up to the end. Right up to the end. We were at the finish line.
Almost there.
There we go.
We good?
Yeah, she's going to hit it again. But yeah, dude, shout out for coming out and kicking it with us.
For sure.
Yeah.
We got to get you on some of our other stuff we do. I got the Monday Monster Art.
Awesome.
I need guest narrators. It'll be some fun.
I'll be there.
Got some shout outs to love.
Yeah, shout out to Jordan, because I am so excited for her new tarot journey.
Yeah.
And she's very good, you guys. Like, it
Love
just
each
comes
other,
natural for her. It's really get out of here.
Hey, you know what?
Having a
I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it.
No, I'm just very, very excited for you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Shout out.
Shout out.
It's your turn.
Shout out to Danny and Armando, also Hector, our letterer out in Mexico, and also shout out to Gypsy and Charlie Lucas from Skate Waco for raising me this way. Mom and Dad, I love you.
Where can people find not only yourself, but Plus Comics Waco?
Oh, we have
Plus Waco Comics.
It's all good. Danny gets it wrong all the time, too. Or sorry, Armando does. It's pluswacocomics.com. We're also on Facebook at Plus Waco Comics, Instagram at Plus Waco Comics. Yeah, that's what we're at so far.
Do you have a personal Instagram?
I do, Joey Gonzales, but just at Joey GNZLS, because
Okay.
some guy has Joey Gonzales that hasn't posted in like 10 years.
Okay.
Damn, I hate those
I stay
accounts.
updated on it. It's okay. I'm
Yeah.
scouting.
Hell yeah, man. Well, it was fucking dope kicking it with you, dude.
For sure.
Yeah.
We'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
See you guys.